There is a specific kind of exhaustion that you carry. It isn't physical tired, needs sleep. It is the deep spiritual exhaustion of a person who is constantly auditioning for their own life. You know this feeling, don't you? It's that split second after you send the text, post the photo, or finish the presentation. The air leaves the room, your heart rate spikes, just a fraction, and you wait. You are suspended in a void of silence, waiting for the ping, the nod, the smile, the digital thumbs up. In that silence, you don't just feel anxious, you feel unauthorized, like you are a ghost waiting for someone to look at you so you can become solid again. We call this seeking validation. Society calls it being needy or insecure. But those words are too small, too dismissive for the war you are fighting. Here is the paradox that is slowly destroying you. You are starving at a banquet of your own making. You have spent years, perhaps decades, curating a version of yourself that is palatable, impressive, and helpful. You have become an expert at reading the micro-expressions of others to ensure you are safe. And yet, no matter how much praise you receive, no matter how many people tell you that you are good or talented or kind, it never sticks. It pours right through you like water through a cracked vessel. You crave the validation to prove you exist, but because you are performing to get it, the validation never reaches the real you. It only validates the mask. And so the real you starves, hidden behind the curtain, screaming for recognition that never comes. The thing that protected you as a child, your ability to shapeshift into what others needed, is now the very thing that is dismantling your soul. To understand why you are stuck in this loop, we have to look beyond the surface level of low self-esteem. This is a structural issue within your nervous system. Psychologically, we are looking at a phenomenon known as the external locus of evaluation. This concept, pioneered by Carl Rogers, describes a state where the center of your decision-making and value judgment resides outside of your body. Most people have an internal compass. You were trained to hand your compass to everyone else. This usually stems from a developmental environment characterized by conditional regard. As a child, you likely learned that love was not a baseline reality, it was a transaction. You were not loved for who you were praised for what you did, for being the good child, the quiet one, the high achiever, or the emotional caretaker for a volatile parent. This creates a terrifying psychological equation: performance equals safety. When this happens, two things occur in the developing brain. First, you develop hypervigilance. Your amygdala remains on high alert, constantly scanning the environment for signs of rejection or disapproval. You become a master of reading the room because, historically, misreading the room meant emotional abandonment. You aren't just sensitive, you are surviving. Second, you experience a fragmentation of the self-concept. You develop what D.W. Winnicott called the false self. This isn't a malicious lie, it is a defensive structure. The false self is the diplomat you send out into the world to keep the peace and gather approval. But because the false self is doing all the living, the true self remains underdeveloped, frozen in time, and deeply lonely. This is the dark reality. You are not addicted to compliments. You are addicted to safety. The validation you crave is actually a signal from your nervous system saying, "I am seen, therefore I will not be abandoned today." The cost of this survival mechanism is essentially your life. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously said, "Hell is other people." He didn't mean other people are annoying. He meant that when we rely entirely on the look of the other to define us, we lose our freedom. We become objects in their world rather than subjects in our own. For you, this manifests as a profound, invisible grief. It is the grief of self-abandonment. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, just to keep the peace, you are abandoning yourself. Every time you replay a conversation in your head for 3 hours, agonizing over whether you sounded smart enough, you are abandoning yourself. Every time you wait for a partner to tell you your outfit looks good before you can feel comfortable wearing it, you are abandoning yourself. This is the tragedy of the chameleon. The chameleon changes its colors to survive, to blend in. But if a chameleon spends its whole life blending in, does it even remember what color it actually is? The emotional cost is a state of chronic existential anxiety. You live with a lingering fear that if you were to stop performing, if you were to just sit still, be messy, be unproductive, or be boring, that you would cease to matter. You fear that without the external gaze, you would simply evaporate. This is why rest feels dangerous to you. Resting means the performance stops, and if the performance stops, the applause stops. And if the applause stops, you are left alone in the room with the stranger you fear the most, yourself. So how does this ancient wound show up in your life right now? It's not always as obvious as fishing for compliments. It's much more subtle and much more insidious. You might recognize yourself in these distinct behaviors. These are the symptoms of a nervous system that has forgotten how to validate itself. The over-explanation response. When you make a simple decision, you feel a compulsive need to explain why. You can't just decline an invitation. You have to provide a legal defense for why you can't go. This is a trauma response. It's you pleading with the court of public opinion. Please don't be mad at me. My reasons are valid. Decision paralysis. You struggle to choose a restaurant, a career path, or even a movie without checking the reviews or asking a partner. You have atrophy in your knowing muscle. You don't trust your own senses. The post-mortem loop. After social interactions, your default mode network goes into overdrive. You dissect every sentence. Did I talk too much? Did that joke land? Did they think I was weird? You are retroactive editing a movie that has already finished playing. Emotional mirroring. You subconsciously match the energy of whoever you are with. If they are sad, you become somber. If they are excited, you feign hype. You do this to create rapport, but you end up feeling exhausted because you are constantly metabolizing other people's emotions. The resentment of the nice person. This is the darkest one. You give and give, hoping the validation will return to you as love, but when people don't praise you or reciprocate your overfunctioning, you feel a flash of white-hot rage or deep bitterness. You think, after all I did for them? That resentment is your true self banging on the door, tired of being sacrificed for approval. So how do we break the mirror? How do we stop the endless hunger? The goal is not to stop caring what people think. We are social creatures. We will always care a little. The goal is to move the locus of evaluation from out there to in here. This requires reparenting. It means you must become the person you have been waiting for. When you do something good and you feel that itch to reach for your phone and post it, pause, just for 10 seconds. Sit with the feeling of pride in your own body. Let it settle in your chest. Tell yourself, I did this. I know it is good. I don't need a witness to make it real. You must practice the tolerance of misunderstanding. This is the hardest part. You have to allow people to be wrong about you. You have to allow someone to be disappointed in your boundaries without rushing in to fix their feelings. You have to stand in the fire of their disapproval and realize that you are not burning. You are still standing. And finally, you must engage in shadow work to reclaim the parts of you that aren't praiseworthy, the parts of you that are lazy, selfish, angry, or messy. You hid them because you thought they were unlovable, but you cannot be whole while you are hiding half of yourself.